At the start of your driving test, you'll be asked 2 questions relating to vehicle maintenance and safety checks. One of these questions will be show me, and one of the questions will be tell me. Let's go through those questions now. Show me how you would check that the power-assisted steering is working correctly before starting a journey. One option for this is to apply light pressure to the steering, pulling down whilst turning the engine on. You'll be able to feel the power steering system as it turns on and engages, and the steering should become light. The alternative technique is to drive a short distance and test the steering. It should not feel heavy. The steering should feel light and responsive. Show me how you would check the parking brake. That's the handbrake for excessive wear, making sure you keep full control of the car. Put your right foot onto the foot brake and press firmly to ensure the car does not roll away. With your left hand on the handbrake, that's the parking brake, lower the handbrake all the way down until the cable fully releases. Now reapply the handbrake until it reaches the end of its working travel, at which point it should feel tight, ensuring that the car is securely held. I will now release the foot brake, knowing that my handbrake is secure and tight. Show me how you would check that the horn is working. This can only be tested off-road. Simply press the horn to ensure it is working correctly. Show me how you would check that the direction indicators are working. The easiest way of checking that your indicator bulbs are working is to press your hazard warning light button. Then walk around the car, ensuring that all of the amber indication bulbs are operating correctly. An alternative technique is to use the indicator stalk, indicating first to the left, then to the right, ensuring that you walk around the car to make sure that the relevant bulbs are operating correctly. Show me how you would check that the brake lights are working in this car. You would need to press the brake pedal and ask your friend, in the instance of a driving test, this would be the examiner, to go around the back of the car to ensure that your brake lights are functioning correctly. If you haven't got any friends, you could use a reflective surface, such as a garage door or a window, to test that your brake lights are working correctly. Tell me how you would check that the brakes are working before starting a long journey. You'll need to drive a short distance and test your brakes. The vehicle should not pull to one side when braking. It should brake in a straight line. Also, your brakes must not feel spongy or slack. They should feel relatively firm, as they would do normally. Tell me how you would check that the headlights and tail lights are working correctly. On this particular car, the headlights and the tail lights can be found on the left-hand stalk. I'm going to twist the end of the left-hand stalk until it reaches this symbol here, which is the dipped headlights. If I just turn those back off again, to the word off, and then back onto the dipped headlights, this symbol just here. I would then walk around the car, or I would tell the examiner that I would walk around the car and make sure that the relevant lights are operating correctly. Tell me where you'd find the information for the recommended tyre pressures for this car and how those tyre pressures should be checked. Now, you'd find the relevant information for your tyre pressures in your vehicle handbook, the manual that comes with the car. You must use a reliable pressure gauge, which normally can be found at most petrol stations. You need to check all of your tyres. Remember, this is 5 because there is a spare one in the boot, which you must also ensure is maintained. When you check your tyre pressures, do this when they're cold, not after a long journey. And when you're all finished, put the little valve caps back on again to ensure that they are re-secured back in position. Tell me how you would check your tyres to ensure they have sufficient tread depth and that their general condition is safe to use on the road. Your tyres must have a minimum of 1.6 millimetres worth of tread depth. That's the grooves that run around the entire circumference of the tyres. You must also make sure that your tyres are in good condition. They must not be damaged, such as not having any nails in the tyres. Show me how you would clean the windscreen using the windscreen washer and wipers. In this car, I just need to turn on the ignition and using the right hand finger stalk, don't worry too much if you can't see it, but I'm going to pull the stalk towards myself. You look at the windscreen, it gives it a nice wash and a wipe to get that all clean again. To clean the rear windscreen, I'm going to use the very tip of the right hand stalk, which I'm going to twist all the way to the little symbol at the bottom. You can twist it in either direction. If we look at the back window briefly, we can see that it gives it a bit of a wash and a wipe. That's fine, I'll turn those all back off again. Show me how you would set the demister controls to clear all the windows effectively. This should include both the front and the rear windows. Now in this car we have front and rear demister buttons. The front demister, when I activate it, you'll see also activates the air conditioning of the car. Air conditioning is a very effective dehumidifier, which works to clear any misting from the windows. The rear demister will heat up the back window, clearing any misting off of the rear window. If your car does not have a front demister, ensure that you aim the air towards the windscreen of the car. Alternatively, opening the window often works well at demisting the windows. Show me how you would switch on the rear fog lights and explain when you would use them. Now the fog lights in this car will only activate if the dipped headlights are already on. So if you look here for me again, I'm going to just turn the dipped headlights back on again by twisting 2 clicks. Further in the middle of the dial, if you can see this one, I'm going to turn. The first click is the front fog lights of the car. Very low lights which cut under the fog, illuminating the road surface as opposed to the fog itself. I'm now going to twist to the second click, which is the more important rear fog lights. If you can see on the dashboard, there's an orange symbol which represents the rear fog light. This one's the front fog light, and this one's the rear fog light. Fog lights must only be used in extremely foggy conditions when visibility is seriously reduced. Once the fog has diminished, you must ensure that you turn your fog lights back to the off position again, as the fog lights can be very dazzling, particularly for any traffic following behind the car. Show me how you would switch your headlights from dipped to main beam and explain how you would know the main beam is on whilst in the car. Now I'll put the dipped headlights on, they're currently on at the moment, and I'll just show you how you put the main beam, often referred to as full beam. I need to push the entire stalk gently towards the dashboard. If we take a look on the dashboard itself, we can see a blue light has appeared. This represents your main beam, sometimes referred to as full beam lights. These are only to be used in nighttime conditions on unlit roads and must not dazzle any of the drivers ahead of you. I'll just turn the full beam back off again by pulling the stalk towards myself. Tell me how you'd make sure your head restraint is correctly adjusted so it provides the best protection in the event of a crash. I must ensure that when sitting normally, my eyeline or the tops of my ears are at least in the centre of the head restraint. If they were not, I would consider reaching behind me and lifting my head restraint to ensure that the head restraint offers good protection to the back of the neck in the event of a crash. Tell me how you would know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system. This is to be tested when starting the car's ignition system. If you can look at the dashboard for me, we've got a light that will appear in a moment in this top left corner of the dashboard when I turn the ignition on. As I turn the ignition on, a little amber light saying ABS appears in the corner. As long as that light has disappeared, the system is functioning. If the light remains on the dashboard, the car is trying to tell us there's a problem with the ABS. That's the end of this section of the Show Me Tell Me, but do watch the other video which looks at more detail inside the bonnet.